Right around the corner from Grandma and Grandpa over there in the Highlands. And I'm so glad my mom moved me over there because moved us all over there, my sister's over there. Because I got a chance to get to know my grandparents. And that was wonderful. I felt secure because Grandma had it on lock. And she walked in. Some of y'all know that she was watching some of the young kids and taking care of them at 5 o'clock in the morning when they get dropped off. Miss Dupree, she's in here somewhere, I know. Miss Walker, I don't know if she's here. Lambie's. These were all women that moved on to be great. And their kids were raised by Grandma for a while. She watched out for them, took good care of them too. Miss Walker, Miss Dupree, they ended up being my principal as I came up. I'm talking about the 6th grade. Miss Dupree had put me on suspension for recess. Where is she? Okay. Yep, Miss Walker and her girls were middle school. She was my principal too. And it all meant, it didn't mean much then, but it meant a lot.
Hello everyone and welcome to Leona Williams' 100th birthday celebration. My name is Talia Harrison and I am her great-great-granddaughter. Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm her 5th generation. Happy birthday, Gigi Mama. We love you.
The U.S. population is roughly about 350 million. And out of those 350 million, only 5,000 people live in your country. So Grandma's in the top 0.001% of world life. So in 100 years, there are 36,525 days, 5,217.86 weeks, and 876,600 hours on this earth. That's a long time. That's a long time. Long time. All right, so I want to talk about this young, beautiful lady from Dewey, Texas that winds up in Washington, right? So, as Willow was saying that she was from Dewey, Texas, well, she hooked up with this man that was from Starks, Louisiana, that was just actually across, like 5 miles across the river. So anyway,
Hey, you guys. Respect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Show me respect. Thank you. So anyway, I'm going to start with my grandfather's story because he's also a big part of the story. So my grandfather was actually born in Starks, Louisiana, right? His parents died very young, so we don't know a whole lot about them. But when he was really young, he went to live with his sister from the age of baby to about 14. So she married this guy who was really abusive, right? He was just one of those dudes, right? So he was very abusive to Grandpa. He made him work really hard, would beat him, things like that. So around the age of 14, well, let me go back. This black woman saved him. I forgot this part. His auntie came and beat the hell out of the man that was beating on Grandpa. That's what y'all do, right? So he had a cousin named Sanford that actually lived in Dewey, Texas with Grandma. So he said, so he went over and got clearance and brought my grandfather over to Dewey, Texas, and put him to work because he had a company where he was hauling trucks and worked in the steel mill. So at the age of 14, between the age of 19, my grandfather was in Dewey, Texas, and that's where he met the beautiful Leona Williams. So at 19, they got married at 19, and of course in 1939, and here comes my mom, all right? So around 1943, there was a situation that happened in Dewey, Texas, where my grandfather had to leave. I'm gonna remind you guys something. We're in Dewey, Texas. It's 1940s. It's before Loving versus Virginia. You know what that is, right? That's the integration case. You could not amalgamate with Negroes at that time, right? That you get hung. So Grandpa caught these white men chasing sisters in the city, right? So what happened was these white people came to Stanford and said, "Hey man, you gotta get out of town because the lynch mob's coming." Because for some reason, the white men were worried about my grandfather going to their neighborhood and telling their wives. I mean, really? Grandpa would go to their neighborhood and say, "Hey, your man's over chasing some black women." That's not good. So anyway, because of that, Grandpa had to get out of town. But he has this money savvy lady right here. So what Grandma did is she had money that she kept in old laundry basket, right? And because there were no banks, black folks can go to banks. So she had to keep her money, and she learned how to manage money. So she gave Grandpa the money to go to Beaumont, Texas. To get over to free being lynched. So he went to Beaumont, Texas. And this is where it kind of became a blessing in disguise to him. This was during the wartime, and in Beaumont, Texas, they had, it was war, they had, shipping, and they needed help to work there, so he was able to go there and get a job. So it was kind of a tour because at that time, the train did not come to Dewey, Texas. So he had to get to another city 5 miles away just to catch the train to get to Beaumont. And because Grandma had the money, he was able to help him because she saved money. She gave him the money, and that's kind of where our life began. So they're in Beaumont, Texas. My mom was born in Dewey, Texas. So 1940 and mom was in 1942. So her and 2 kids went ahead and moved to Beaumont, Texas. So my grandpa's working there, he was doing well, and then he decides in Bremerton, they need people to come and help in the shipyards in wartime. So my grandma said, "Honey, we're gonna go to Washington." And Grandma was like, "Where the hell is that? Is that the end of the earth?" At the time, Washington was the end of the earth. Nobody in Washington. Nobody here, reindeers, bears, and coyotes and stuff. But he said, "We're gonna go to Bremerton," and also at this time too is that a lot of black people were fleeing the South because Jim Crow, lynchings, was murders, and things like that. So he wanted to get out of there. So he goes in May of 1944. He goes to Bremerton to get set up, and then in August of 1944, my grandmother and my uncle go to meet him, and my mom stayed with my great-grandmother because my grandma was sick and she couldn't have the 2 kids, and Uncle Clarence was a big baby, he was a lot too. So they'll go get set up, they go to Bremerton, they move to Bremerton, my grandma comes back, gets mom, and then they go to Bremerton, they live there, they work for a while. Then in 1947, Grandpa says, "Hey, we're gonna move down to Renton." My grandma said, "Where? Oh, why you want to move to Renton?" And he said something that my grandma told me that it kind of resonated with me when you're trying to get somebody to believe in you. He said, "Just trust me. Believe in me. I see something there." Because you gotta understand, Renton is not what you see now. It was woods. There was nothing here. There wasn't any electricity, there was no streets, no lights. Who would move there unless you had some type of vision? It kind of goes into saying that you can have so many degrees you like a thermometer, but if you don't have common sense and vision, you have nothing. So my granddad had a fourth-grade education, but he had this vision about where Britain can go. I mean, he didn't look at where it is, where it goes. So he moved to the Highlands, they moved to the projects, they lived there, and then he goes back to Grandma again. He said, "Honey, we're gonna move up on the hill." She said, "I don't want to live in no bears, and they don't have no toilets, they don't have no water." He said, "Look, I went down to the city planning meeting, and that's all they can go is up there. They have to come to us. Real estate 101, right? They have to come to us." So they go from Highlands, they move up to where they were now. And my grandma moves up there, and when my granddad moved up there, now this is where the movement starts with my grandma. When he first moved there were families there, you had the Weathers, and some other families, but they had no electricity. They had no running water. They had no sewage. So my granddad says, "Okay, well, look, we gotta do something about this. All right, this is where the movement starts." He went down to the city, and he said, "Hey, you need to get water and electricity, to this neighborhood." And they said, "Well, you have to go around and get everybody else to sign and get a petition." So Granddad went around and got a petition. We had everybody sign. Everybody signed, of course. And then the next thing you know, they got water, electricity, and roads to Renton. And that is the birth of Renton. So Yeah. So then my granddad says, okay, look, we're going to buy property. We're going to buy property. Yeah, that's what you got to do. So, it was his land. Because if you look at the time, there were a lot of black people that owned big parcels of land. I remember I was a young kid. You had the Barfields, you had the Mayweathers, you had us, the Williams. You had a lot of people that had property. So my granddad was like, okay. And he said, I'm going to buy this land. So he bought the acres that, he saved up the money. He had a full-time job, and he had a side hustle, right? So he said he would get the money, he bought the land. I think it was something like $1,200 he bought the land for. Then the land next to him, it was this guy it was an older guy that had bad health, and my granddad would look after him all the time. And he knew he couldn't pay the taxes. So he said, because he was like, oh, they're around. He said, man, I'm going to save his property. Then my granddad bought that property, and then you see as the property he had. So he had this vision of where to go. Now, later on in life, of course, the property got sold. My granddad's vision was to build a city. Now, I gotta follow the story here is that we didn't see his vision like we should have. If we saw Granddad's vision, we'd have all kind of properties with a house for all of us. That's what he wanted. He wanted his own city. Okay, but of course he only can take it so far. The next generation has to take it to the next level. But the moral of the story is, besides how my grandmother got here, is having a vision, going about it, ridiculous work ethic, and never give up, and believing yourself, and you can create a city. Thank you for listening.
Come on. Come on. Woo, woo. Come on.
And she's representing, I'm going to say the 70s. Hey, everybody, give her a hand from left for our model. Oh, there you go.
There's a lot been said already about my great-grandmother. She's such a blessing in so many ways. She was one of the first people to hold me. So, I have a strong connection with her, and I lived with her for a couple of years, too, in Renton. But the funniest thing was, I was teaching my kids the 10 Commandments, and the 5th commandment says to honor your mother and father that you may live long in the land. And so my daughter Talia said, well, Grandma's going to be 100, so she must have been really good to her mom and dad. I said, yeah, she must have been really good. She lived 100 years, she must have been really, really good to them. So, yeah, I thought that was really funny. But Grandma, I love you so much. I thank you for all that you've done for us and the family. Always there, never complain. Just always willing to make those good tea cakes and sweet potato pies. Thank you, Grandma. Happy birthday.
Markus was 3 months old before he might die. I was too scared to tell Grandma. Because I remember the day I found out about Markus, his mother said, no, his sister, I was walking home from school, I was in 8th grade, and Lolo's sister, my son's mom, runs across the street and says, my sister's pregnant. And I'm like, what's that? She said, you're gonna be a father, stupid. And I just remember walking home, crying all the way home with it. So I walk in the house and grandma's sitting there. You know, grandma used to knit and everything and watch Price is Right and knit. So I walk in the house and grandma looked at me and said, boy, what's wrong with you? Oh, nothing, grandma. I didn't want to tell grandma. Grandma going with a horse whip. Grandma had a horse whip. And when you got hit, it'll hit you twice. See, y'all young kids, y'all can't handle that. These kids now, they're too soft. They couldn't handle what we've been through. But anyway, so she didn't find out about Marcus. So anyway, my son's mother one day dropped Marcus on my grandma's doorstep. So it was raining, and we were watching Price is Right. I'll never forget it. Bob Barker said, come on down, and Marcus started screaming. So my grandma said, who's that on the porch? I'm sitting there, oh man, I'm busted. So I said, I don't hear nothing. So I went trying to turn the TV up, and Marcus started screaming louder. She said, open that door, boy. So I go open the door, and there goes Marcus sitting right there crying. And then she said, whose baby is that? I'm like, I don't know. So she grandma, you know who she is. She said, bring him on in. So we brought him on in. So she's looking at the baby, and she thought Marcus was grandpa's baby. So she called grandpa on the So I'm sitting there looking, I ain't saying nothing, because I don't know what they be. So first thing she does, she calls grandpa and said, you get your so-and-so here, but you done sat out there, then bring me around. Right? So I'm sitting there, I ain't saying nothing. So then she calls Hey Zun. And she said, hey Zun, Clarence done gotta go. And she dropped the baby off on her doorstep. And she said, well, did you check with Richard? And then grandma started looking at Marcus and looking at me. She said, let me call you back, girl. Grandma looking at me. I'm like, oh, man. So she said, is this your baby boy? I was like, yes, grandma. Oh, Jesus, oh, my Jesus. So she asked Marcus, and see, the thing is that Marcus has always been this calming spirit. And even as a baby, he was very calm. So he kind of calmed the situation. So she's panicking and, you know, praising the Lord and sweating and stuff. So when she finds Marcus out, she picks Marcus up and she comes over to me on the couch. I'm sitting on the couch sweating bullets. And she says, this your baby? I say, yeah, this is my son. He said, you know, he said, are you? And she hands Marcus to me and she sits in the back and faints. And she calls my mom and everybody finds out, and then that's my baby boy. I just want to share that story is that, you know, even in the worst of times, it's always turned out to be the best of times. Of course, Marcus is my best blessing. But grandma was very supportive of Marcus. I mean, she took him in and helped, even though I was scared and panicked and everything. She always let me know everything's going to be okay. Now I have 4 beautiful grandchildren who started with my lovely grandma. So I just want to thank you, Grandma.